Good morning and welcome into the Missouri 8-Man football show that I do. I am Devin Albertson. Hope you guys enjoy the show. I'm sorry that I'm coming at you a little bit later than I usually do. A lot of stuff came up on Thursday, but I'm putting this up on Friday. Hope you guys enjoy it. It's semifinal week here in Missouri 8-Man, and it's a big one. I'll be going to North Andrew, Worth County, and calling the Worth County game this year. It'll be the fourth game that I've called here for the Tigers, including 2 of the last 3 weeks, and then it'd be 3 of the last 4 weeks now. And then North Andrew, I've called a few of their games as well, so pretty familiar with both those teams on that side of the bracket. I actually have not seen any King City or Sacred Heart games. Sacred Heart a little farther south, that's why I haven't been able to see them. In King City, they just haven't had any games versus teams in the KNIM listening area, so we haven't had to call any of their games, but that's fine. I've been keeping track of those teams through the year, kind of see how it. I might make the trip down to Springfield for the state championship game. Haven't decided yet if we'll be able to go down there, but it should be interesting to see how these semifinal brackets kind of work their way out. If we want to look at the playoff bracket here real quick, here is the entire bracket. As you can see there last week, um, Worth County took down Stanbury 44-22 in a really good matchup. Stanbury played really well versus Worth County. They played a game was a little closer. I actually thought them coming in. Stanbury came out early on and just kind of gave Worth County all they could handle early on. And Worth County kind of slowly throughout the game worked it out and was able to take control a little bit there with the rushing attack led by Tevin Cameron. Last week he was very good on the ground last week. 25 carries, 171 yards, and 5 touchdowns. He was really dynamic there. They had their passing game going a little more than they had in the past, with McClellan going 6 of 7 for 144 yards and a touchdown. That touchdown pass, of course, going to Isaac Alarcon, who had 2 catches, 58 yards for the Tigers. So they did a nice job last week of getting things going a bit there for Worth County. Also, Parman, he had 3 catches for 53 yards for Worth County. So they're a really solid team over there in Grant City. That's the game I'm going to on Friday. Sorry. Then the other semifinal at the top half of the bracket, North Andrew hosting St. Joe Christian. The Cardinals won that one 74-44. Sorry. Christian, they just started playing better at the end of the year. They had a couple guys healthy that were missing. They were missing early on, and they were able to get healthy. So that really helped out on the Lions there. They were able to give North Andrew a little bit of a game there. I know the game was close for a long time. North Andrew pulled away late to advance to another semifinal. I think I saw on Twitter that they haven't lost a home game in 6 years. Well, unfortunately for them, this game versus Worth County will be in Grant City, so they'll be away from home. I know I had my broadcast sheets for this game. I think Worth County has been knocked out two of the last few years in the semifinals by North Andrew. So it'll be interesting to see. Last couple times Worth County has made the semifinals, they had to play North Andrew. It did not go well for them. They'd lose those games. But this Worth County team's a little bit different. This North Andrew team's not as good as it has been in the past. So I think Worth County is probably the favorite going in. I won't make a prediction because I am calling the game for actually 97 won the Ville this time, because usually the 97 won the Ville on Friday night calls the Maryville football game, but since they play against Center on Saturday, they're boosting me up to the big station. So yay me, as I got to go Worth County versus North Andrew in that one. Should be a fun matchup there. I know Worth County won that game pretty easily earlier this year. I think North Andrew will make some adjustments. I think it'll be closer this time than it was earlier this season. Then we go to the bottom half of the bracket, King City versus Sacred Heart. Last week, King City, they took down Southwest Livingston 76-20. Pretty predictable in my opinion. Southwest Livingston, congratulations on making the making the quarterfinals, but they were like the fourth and fifth best team in the 275 this year. They weren't going to be able to match up with King City for a full game. So nice job for King City. And then Sacred Heart, they took down Greenfield 93-46, put up a lot of points last week. In a game where Greenfield was trying to get some revenge for the earlier season loss. Kind of Sacred Heart did to them last year, but they couldn't quite do it. So Sacred Heart, they got the win, even though Bailey Baker for Greenfield threw for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns on 21 of 42 passing. But Sacred Heart's able to pull out the win there. King City, Colin Breckenridge, he led them in passing last week, 13 for 22, 256 yards and 5 touchdowns in their win versus Southwest Livingston. So it's a nice win there for Wildcats of King City. Also, Jacob Moen, he had the most yards rushing according to Mo8ManCoaches.com stats last week. 24 carries for 177 yards and 2 touchdowns. Just beat out Cameron from Worth County by 6 yards. So he had a nice game himself. Also, Breckenridge, the quarterback, had 142 yards rushing on the ground and 3 touchdowns. So King City, they're going to run the ball pretty effectively versus South Livingston. We'll see that continues this week versus Sacred Heart. I don't have any stats for Sacred Heart, but I did see in their all-district team that their quarterback Lyles, the running back Williams, both got first-team offense. Marino, one of their linemen, was first-team all-district. So the receiver also was up there. So if you look at Sacred Heart, they're really talented, really athletic, I believe, at the quarterback and running back position. So they'll be a handle for King City. I just want to see how they match up because you don't see a whole lot of similar opponents. Actually, there's no similar opponents because you look at the two teams. It would have been North Andrew, but the King City North Andrew game earlier this year was canceled. So there's nothing these two teams have done this year that played similar opponents, nothing at all. So I don't think there is, at least. So it should be interesting to see how those two teams kind of stack up with each other. Let me look at King City's record schedule here for a second to see maybe if somebody. Okay, so maybe OCL, North Andrew beating by 40, so that's kind of tough to see there. They also beat Chilhowie 60-32, so there might be a couple games of overlap with these two teams, but it's not like you would see with most teams that are at this point. Because OCL, they both played OCL, they both played Albany, I guess. So and Chilhowie, so there's a couple of overlaps in that, but it's hard to tell when those two teams are significantly worse than the two teams playing. So Sacred Heart, in my opinion, is the favorite to go out and win that game. I just want to see by how much. So I have a good, just a good feel about what's going to happen in the semifinal games here: King City versus Sacred Heart in King City, and then Worth County hosting North Andrew. All four of these teams top 10 in the state. Yeah, Worth County at 11-0 versus a 7-3 North Andrew team, then 8-2 King City, and 10-0 Sacred Heart. So should be a fun matchups going on this weekend, this Friday night. Unfortunately, I won't be able to see King City Sacred Heart, but I'll be keeping my eye on it while I'm doing my game for Worth County North Andrew to see how that game over there is faring for the Wildcats and the Gremlins. Second. So I'll be tweeting out, I believe, just quarter updates and half updates from the North County North Andrew games. If you want to follow me, I know a lot of people from both those schools already tweet out, but I'll be tweeting out as well at Devin Albertson. And then also follow at Mo8 Football. They also tweet out all the scores and try to as much as possible. So if you have someone from King City or Sacred Heart, if you guys are tweeting out scores, you tag Mo8 Football, we'll definitely retweet that. At least the first one we get for an update for quarters. Usually they retweet quarter updates a little more, so it keeps it pretty uniform across it, and then be able to see the scores from around the region. So good luck to all four teams in the semifinal. You all did a great job winning your districts, making it this far. North Andrew versus Worth County, Sacred Heart versus King City. Of course, for all the seniors of those teams, go out there and play like it's your last game ever. I mean, I don't care if you have scholarship offers to college or not. You don't want to have any regrets on the football field. So good luck to all four of those teams. Seniors are going to play their butts off. It should be fun in those games. So that's not a whole lot to talk about this week just because it's just 2 games. So I've done a whole lot of array of stuff to talk about. I will be at Worth County North Andrew. So if you see me there in Grant City, definitely wave hi. I'll wave to you. If I have a little time to talk to you, I will. Kind of depending how the broadcast goes for 97.1 The Ville. And then, of course, King City, Sacred Heart. Good luck to those schools. Sacred Heart has a little bit of a drive to King City, so it should be fun for them on Friday night. Also, a quick fact, the team that's farthest south to ever win a state title is DeKalb, and Senior Christian's next closest. So if you look, it's not been teams down south winning state titles. I mean, DeKalb in 2002 was the farthest team south. It's been Mound City, South Holt, Mound City, St. Joe Christian in 06, and then Worth County, Mound City 3 straight times, Worth County again, Stanbury, North Andrew twice, Stanbury, North Andrew. So there's been a bunch of teams in the northwest part of the state. So we'll see kind of what happens with Sacred Heart. If they make it, they'll be the first team since they were Christian in 2010 to be south of St. Joe or more south to make the state title game. So Hardin Central was probably the farthest team south to make a state title game. They made it in 07. Miami, they made it in 01. So it should be interesting to see how that kind of works out. Because 8-man has been dominated by the northwestern part of the state just because that's where most of the teams have been located. And the teams that have come in from down south haven't been able to do it in the playoffs. The Sacred Heart team is very athletic, very fast. I don't really know a whole lot about them, but I know that from hearing from other teams that have played them, like North Andrew, that they're a very fast team, very athletic. So we'll see kind of what they do going forward here versus King City. Should be a good matchup. I know last year they played Stanberry in the playoffs. They couldn't quite get past them, but that was also a really good Stanberry team last year. So you can't really blame them for losing to a really good Stanberry team last season. I'm trying to find the score here. Yeah, last year it was 80-40. So Sacred Heart still pushed them all the way due to they pushed them a little bit, but Stanberry was able to pull away. They're late. And then of course North Andrew beat Stanberry in the state title game after North Andrew beat King City. So you have two teams that are back from last year's semifinal in North Andrew and King City. They're on opposite sides of the bracket this year. North Andrew gets to face three teams. The only team that's different is Worth County. Last year Worth County lost to Stanberry in the second round of the districts. This year they beat them and then went on to the semifinals. So only one new team in the semifinals this year is Worth County. I believe they're probably the favorite to win the state title this year. Sacred Heart, probably number two, King City, then North Andrew, just because North Andrew has to go through Worth County first to go through it. So that's the way I see it. If I would put a power rankings for these four teams left, it would be Worth County, Sacred Heart, King City, North Andrew. I think it's about where the power rankings are been towards the end of the year, anyways. So should be fun this next weekend. So hope everybody has a good rest of your day. I also want to thank everybody for reaching out who've enjoyed the show and asking where it's been. Really appreciate that. Lets me know you guys actually watch and care a little bit, and it means a lot to me. You guys actually reach out and say, "Hey, we enjoy your show. It's fun. Gives us more attention to 8-man, which is what this whole show is about." So thank you for tuning in. Thanks for your feedback. Everybody have a great day. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at Devin Albertson and at Mo8Man Football on Twitter. That way you get all your 8-man news. Congratulations to all the teams made all district, all conference, all state teams will come out soon. Congratulations to all those kids. You guys all definitely deserved it for that. Everybody have a good rest of your Friday and your weekend here. I'm Devin Albertson on the Mo8Man Football Show.